Hello and welcome to Gaming Knuckleheads Talk, the show that dares to use holiday-themed skins after the holidays.
How dare we?
How about that? How about that Nintendo Direct yesterday that didn't happen that all the leakers said would happen?
I didn't hear about anything like that. So
There were some YouTubers who were saying that a leaker had predicted a Nintendo Direct on January 10th, 2024. Well, if those people get doxxed, they brought it upon themselves. Now, bear in mind, I do not promote or condone doxing, but they brought it upon themselves by promoting misinformation. It's misinformation until it's proven whether a leak is accurate or not. So, anyway, our first topic: the good and the bad of game development practices. Make it a good one, Brent.
Okay, well, this particular topic I thought of is more just to discuss what we think is, from the top of our heads, are both good and bad ideas for game development practices. One particular idea that I think is a pretty good practice, especially since it doesn't affect companies, at least in terms of work, is flexible schedule. Like, don't have a set date you need to have it put to. I know that can be very difficult, especially if you have, say, shareholders who want a game released at a certain time, especially during on the holidays. But I'd say the more flexible you have it, the better product you'll be able to get out. And yes, Gear, please put your hand down.
I will now take the bait. Take notes, Game Freak!
Well, I wasn't trying to make you say that, but I figured it was going to come up eventually.
It's a challenge at this point. At what point will a topic not bring us back to making fun of them?
Yeah. And in terms, just so that I can open the floor to you guys, one particular one that I think is a bad idea of game development practices is crunch time. Because let's put it to you this way, you're putting more hours on a development team so that they can, make the game. But if you keep doing that, eventually there's going to be just because they have to work more to reach a certain deadline doesn't mean their work is going to improve. Same mistakes you would make during actual day of work going to happen there.
Well, I'll start us off with another bad one. It's not really when you think about it, it's not a bad one, but it is a bad one. People are pretty much going to be like, "Oh, come on, now you're just trolling." Honest to God, not trolling, and I'll explain why. When developers open their mouths and showcase their opinions. We're lucky to be getting a new Fantasy Life game. Because the head developer, never wanted to make another one. You know why? And you can argue that at least at the time, if not now, this was the case over in Japan. But he literally thought that whatever was popular in Japan was also popular in the rest of the world. He said there would never be another Fantasy Life game because people were going to abandon consoles at that time permanently for mobile gaming on phones. So now, even though he is putting in the effort to make sure his team at level 5 does a good job and make the game worthwhile, he is, in a sense, probably eating his words,
Yeah.
He honestly, back then, he should have just shut up and given us what we wanted, a new Fantasy Life. By now, we could be on 3 or 4, maybe. Yeah, it's when you make your opinions and you end up doing something that you said you'd never do, you end up making an ass out of yourself. And the fact that he now realizes that here in the West, mobile gaming was never popular except amongst celebrities and whales. Now he's realizing it, and even Japan is getting a new Fantasy Life along with the rest of us. So,
Yeah.
He could have had this line of thought back when he said he was never going to do another one because he figured that nobody would ever touch a console again in their life.
Well,
All right, Brent and Danny, fight amongst yourselves. And a good friend of mine has this to say.
Good.
Uh-huh. How is the old folks home today, Kane? He's a CNA in a facility for the elderly. And anyway, but yeah, Danny and Matt, fight it amongst yourselves over who will give the next game development practices.
well, I think as far as as far as game development is concerned, I think developers should be given as much time as they need, and that they shouldn't be forced to do, you know, work at a certain in a certain time frame, because then the game suffers quality issues, and it's just or they say they'll commit to releasing a game in 2 years or something, or every year, and you wind up with really with a game with lots of bugs, and then they have to patch it after release for probably another year.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Cyberpunk 2077 get a delay in its release, and it still ended up being a buggy mess?
No, it got rushed. And that's why it had bugs in the first place. Hence why
They had a chance to delay it because of COVID-19, but they didn't do it.
No, your marketeers wanted that money, so they told the game developers, "Hey, put it out there. We don't care how many bugs are on there. We want our money."
What's funny is one of these days, the investors are going to keep pushing this. And they're going to lose their money because somebody in the development sphere is going to fuck up so bad that nobody's going to buy the game. The investors are going to lose the money, and they're going to be like, "Why didn't the game sell? Because you made us rush. Because you threatened to pull out." I don't know if I've said it during an episode or if I've just said it while hanging out with people, but regardless, I've said it somewhere. I'm going to say it again. The investors, what they have to say should never matter. Yeah, they're giving the companies money and whatnot. But first off, going back to Game Freak, as a multi-trillion-dollar company, I don't think investors pulling out on a Pokemon project is really going to affect the bottom line. Not just because of brand recognition and it'll sell regardless, but the fact that they got so damn much money that delaying a game to begin with and getting better sales from more effort put into the development cycle would show at least the Game Freak investors, hey, look what happens when you don't rush. Yeah, the merch is a horse of a different color. Pokemon Company can stuff it and rehash old merchandise before the new games, Anyway, Kane has one client tonight, so it's pretty easy. Woohoo!
Good for them.
Let's hear it for easy jobs, huh?
Easy jobs. There's no such thing.
Pretty easy for him when he's got one client to work with. So anyway, but yeah, okay. Too much negative. I challenge all three of you, come up with a few positive aspects of game development practices.
Well, I mean, there's when the company, and has like I said, gives you vacations to think it over and to come up with new ideas and stuff. Unless you mean something else, or
no, that's actually a good thing as well. That could definitely be useful. Another good thing to have is essentially in the way I feel of it, structure, like an idea of what needs to be done throughout which part and how it should be tackled. Because without structure, you've got no plan.
Right.
And then you can release something that could be just screams, what the fuck were you guys? What the fuck was your plan?
We're gonna cut as many useful features from this game as possible. Cut to the meme of the developer being thrown out the window of the top floor.
Mhm.
Yeah, I will say one positive that I think that some companies do a good job of it, but other companies really need to get up and get with it.
Mhm.
And I will give new games, like a new IP, a pass, but with games that come after, you know?
Mhm.
Listen to what your audience wants. Don't just say, well, I'm the developer, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want, you know?
Mhm.
Like, look at Luigi's Mansion. They took a gamble with the first game. They didn't know what was going to happen. And how popular was the first game?
Very.
And then the second game was not all that good. It was built on a crappy mission system. Areas of the mansion were inaccessible. And you had that ranking system. It was impossible to get a good ranking if you spent all your time trying to kill every ghost, trying to collect all the treasure, you know? So you literally had to stress yourself out with the balance to get the highest possible ranking in each mission, you know? And even though people said good things about it, I just don't think that it was as popular as the first one. And obviously, it's Kensuke Tanabe is the one who works on Luigi's Mansion, right?
I believe so.
Well, Tanabe even said over the development of Luigi's Mansion 3 that he listened to what people were saying about the second game, what they did and didn't like about it, and he applied that to Luigi's Mansion 3. And how popular was Luigi's Mansion 3?
Very.
Better than 2? Just as good as 1?
I'd say so, yeah.
And why was it better than 2?
He listened.
Because against Miyamoto's desires, he listened to what the fans had to say. You know? I mean, I know Capcom was always good with being fan-friendly.
Most of the time.
Up until recently, you know?
I mean, like, there's Devil May Cry 2, another second game in the series that's not so great. And then there's, well, the original Street Fighter bombed, but fortunately it led to, Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, and if you look at the original Street Fighter, it doesn't look like it's all that great of a game. I mean, you literally can only play as one character.
Actually, yeah, no, you're right. You can only play as one character.
It's like, when you look at, like, competitive... And I know that Street Fighter 2 was the birth of the arcade fighting genre, but if there was anything that came before Street Fighter 2, during the Street Fighter 1 era, dare to compare. It's like, what were you thinking? You weren't thinking until Street Fighter 2. Yeah, but, and... I mean, if it wasn't for Street Fighter 2, I don't think the fighting game craze would have happened.
They wouldn't have.
Where are you off to, Mittens?
Anywhere else?
Yeah. Anybody else got some good development practice ideas, or shall we move along?
No. Mine's not as extensive. It only relates to one. Gearbox.
Can I say it? Randy Bitchford. Seriously, despite the fact that he does good with the Borderlands series, do you know how many temper tantrums he's thrown over criticism and feedback?
Okay, and can I tell you what that possibly led to?
Yes.
Him partnering with Cryptic and supporting Star Trek Online. The Star Trek Online is partly powered by Gearbox.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, when it comes to... But that's one last bad element. Like, don't insult your fans. Like, I already know your thoughts on the matter, but the rest of us, our thoughts on the matter are, look, if you have to pay for it over and over again, it's a microtransaction. And a lot of people don't like that in a pay-to-own game. But he had to go ahead and literally insult everybody by more or less calling them idiots for saying that, no, I don't put microtransactions into my game. You can all fuck off. That is I don't care what positives come from it. Everybody is justified in telling him off or calling him a piece of shit because of the way he treats people who don't basically suck his dick, more or less, you know?
That's how. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how you keep a game maintained is with those microtransactions.
Not necessarily. There are plenty of games that get well maintained through just DLC or the base game alone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And bear in mind, microtransactions led to loot boxes, which are considered a form of gambling. And I told you, I know we've discussed this on the channel before, but did I tell you what happened over in England?
I think so. Why don't you remind me?
2 kids basically committed credit card fraud. Just to spend money on microtransactions and loot boxes to get the character skins they wanted.
Oh,
It was a FIFA game, and EA said, you're not getting that money back. We don't care if your kids stole it from you.
oh right.
Nintendo came swinging out of the park as the heroes. Instead of being greedy motherfuckers like EA, they actually gave the money back to the parents out of their own pocket. That's more or less one of the biggest reasons why microtransactions and loot boxes get such a bad rap.
Mhm.
And my opinion is, if you can keep it forever, it's DLC. If you only pay for it once, you know? Like in Borderlands 3, the cosmetics, if you can never lose them or never get rid of them, like what I mean is like when you buy a cosmetic item,
Yeah.
and if you never have to pay for that cosmetic item over and over again, that's what I call micro DLC. An actual microtransaction would be something like this many hearts to continue playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question on that topic.
Mhm.
What do you call a something like if you pay a one-time fee on a subscription, you don't have to pay over and over again? What kind of transaction is that?
They just gave you a lifetime access to it. I mean, I'm telling you right now, Nintendo would get a much better rap if they were like, hey, give us $50 and you'll get Switch Online forever. I mean, Microsoft and PlayStation would be, I mean, they're already popular, but people would be singing everybody's praises in the street. And before anyone asks what Danny is referring to is her Star Trek Online. She paid for a lifetime subscription. It was about what, $200 or $300?
It's originally $400, but every now and then they bring it down to $200.
She paid $200. She will never have to pay a renewal fee for the rest of her life.
Plus, on top of that, I get 500 in-game credits per month.
Mm-hmm. That right there, if subscription-based stuff gave you a one-time subscription fee for life, I mean, first off, in free-to-play games, because like Nintendo's doing it out the wazoo with Mario Kart Tour has a subscription pass, Fire Emblem Heroes has a subscription pass, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If they would just be like, here's a one-time subscription pass, lifetime, to all of our mobile games, they'd make a lot more friends. Well, friends, because, you know, like developers never your friends, but you know what I mean.
I mean, mind you, I mean, apart from the lifetime subscription, they say, hey, if you want this item or this particular cosmetic item or this particular starship, just give us like maybe $20 and we'll give you the credits that's needed to buy said starship.
Regular credits like premium currency, though, definitely counts as a microtransaction, I would say. But one thing that I like, and this is like good development when it comes to free-to-play, when microtransactions aren't forced, when they're completely 100% optional, where you don't have to buy them. Exactly. Like, the problem is that some developers make it a pay-to-win. Like, you're not going to... Like, Mario Kart Tour started out, unless you were constantly buying microtransactions, you would not be able to play every cup in a tour. Eventually, they got so much negative criticism, lost downloads, that they altered it so that the cups unlock over time. But then they put in the ranking mode, which is rigged to a point where every day the scores for the CPUs in the ranking cup change. And if you're not constantly buying microtransactions to max everything out on your carts, drivers, and gliders, it will be physically impossible to maintain a straight first place streak in the rankings.
Yeah, it's something that again SEO avoided.
Yeah.
Lifetime subscription was yours to use as needed. It didn't matter how many times you logged on. You wouldn't have to log on for like 3 or 4 months, and when you finally log back on, hey, look, you stockpiled like what 2,000 in-game credits.
Yeah, the last thing I will say on the subject is like the good thing about the ranking cup is like 95% of what appears in the ranking cup, like drivers and carts and shit, circulates through the premium currency anyway. So when you make the easy free premium currency, it cycles through it. Only like 5% is locked behind the ranking cup. So how? Okay.
Well,
Oh no, he hears us. He doesn't hear us.
yeah.
I hear you.
All right. While we wait for the connection to come back,
Yeah, you just cut out for like the last 10 seconds there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Matt, everybody loves a good retro console.
Yeah.
Everybody hates a save battery in a cartridge.
Yeah.
Which one of those is easier to replace, though? And that's the subject of our next topic. As time moves on and we go forward into the future, newer consoles become retro, just like the NES, the Super Nintendo, the Genesis. And how long will those parts be able to be? How long can you keep a console in good condition? And when is a retro console, dead? That is the point of the Unrevivable Consoles topic for those of you who actually didn't peek down into the description of the video. We're talking about what happens when a retro console is no longer able to be revived and with replacement parts.
Yeah. And basically, go ahead.
And it belongs in the museum and on display.
Basically,
Say it like Indiana Jones. It belongs in the museum.
It belongs in the museum.
Okay, Matt, we're done. We're done fucking around.
Basically, what I wanted to think of was or talk about was ways in which in which people are trying to revive those unrevivable consoles. I mean, I don't know, but what do you think would be? What's I mean, I guess I'm thinking, what would be a proper way for Nintendo to bring back, or Sony or Sega or Microsoft to bring back the old stuff, like consoles, not games.
Right. Well, Nintendo sorta had the right idea with the NES and the Super NES Classic. But I think what they should have done is they should have taken it a step further. Like, not just a plug and play with some preloaded stuff, but they're big on innovation. They could lead this for because we saw how bad Sega and Sony fucked up with their classic plug and plays, Especially when Sega went to @games. Anyway, but yeah, give us a virtual console-esque type experience. Give us a plug-and-play console where we can pick and choose what games we load onto the system.
Oh, that reminds me.
What?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because the plug-and-plays, I believe they use newer technology. It allows an older console to live on, but rather than having to spend an arm and a leg on cartridges, you just get the ROM files the same way that you would when you download a virtual console game or access the ROMs on Switch Online's their new way for running classic games.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great way to bring retro consoles back, especially as it becomes harder, if not impossible, to make older when you can't like get the technology to repair older ones.
Mm-hmm.
Tigger.
What I wanted to say was like on this other YouTube channel that I watched, this guy, he bought like a new Atari console that's come out. And
Which one? Which Atari console?
It's a new one. Well, I mean, it's a new, but at the same time, it's a revival of like the Atari 2600.
Wait, did they actually deliver on their promise to make the VCS? Because back in 2018, that was like the biggest scam of the year.
No, it's a different one.
Ah, so the VCS remained a scam. Okay.
Yeah. And basically, this one though allows you can download games onto it. You can use cartridges on it, and basically, and they have like lots of like homebrew stuff on it too, and it's just really cool how they interact with the community for that one.
And does this 2600 Revival use more modern technology?
Yeah.
That's definitely a big way to go, especially for cartridge owners. Like, everyone and their brother pretty much knows that bookcase right there in the direction I'm pointing has a ton of Super Nintendo cartridges on it. When my gray box finally dies, when I can no longer repair it, I would like something like that to continue playing my cartridges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's basically, I would like something like that for like for like any sort, like every sort of console that was retro, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially because, and like in terms of like preserving retro games, like Sony and Microsoft have the right idea right now. Nintendo had the right idea until Switch Online came along.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to come out because we got the topic right now. I'm going to say it. I remember when I asked you to help me with this experiment. But a lot of people, you just log in after 7 days and you can still play the game offline when it's downloaded to your system. Yet I asked you to try that experiment, and you told me the fruits of your experiment were after 7 days, you have to play it through the online.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people in like the YouTube comment sections. Is like, yeah, but Nintendo says that that's not how it works. After 7 days, it's no longer playable offline, and I'm pretty sure here in America, by law, they're not allowed to lie about that in customer service. Pretty sure that's illegal.
Yeah.
If they tell a lie about how their systems and happens to watch this, they can leave a comment down below explaining if lying to your people, to your customers via customer service is illegal here in the States or not. But yeah, it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, because I was on a family friend plan with some friends, and either the owner of the expansion pass just didn't renew, or he took me off it to cycle another friend on. But if I wanted to play Banjo-Kazooie right now, I couldn't. I had to delete N64 and Game Boy Advance Online off my systems, I only have access to NES, Super Nintendo, and Game Boy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, I never use them because I want to play them like on a road trip, and I can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a big L to Nintendo right there. They really need to bring back the classic. Here's my pitch. Here's my pitch. What they have right now, while you're subscribed to Switch Online, instead of downloading an app and playing the games directly, you can access catalogs on the eShop that are exclusive to Switch Online members. You can, for free, because all you're paying is a subscription fee, you can download whatever games you want onto your system to be played offline. And even after you don't renew your subscription, they're yours to keep. Kind of like a Game Pass scenario where you're not paying for the games as well. It gives them their ability to bring that new thing in because they can keep the apps for online play, but they can also give full-time downloads for permanent offline play as well.
I mean, I'm all for things like that. So,
Mm-hmm. What are your two thoughts on unrevivable consoles?
Truth be told, not really much else that you guys haven't said already. Definitely do agree with you. That's like, Switch Online, kind of not the way to go.
mm-hmm.
I'm just listening.
I'm making sure you're not broken.
Are you making sure Danny.exe ain't connected?
Please insert backup. But yeah, all joking aside, but yeah, I mean, yeah, and honestly, I'm all for improving the Switch Online to begin with. The whole reason I was on my friends and family plan to begin with is because why do I want to pay $50 when I can't play the games anytime, anywhere?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
No, weren't you just talking about that a while ago?
No, I was talking about my big Switch, like my main Switch that I use for multiplayer and streaming being defective, and because I spent $30 on the physical copy of Spirits Unleashed, why am I going to spend another $30 just to stream it when the game card is only and that's how I know it's the Switch and not the game card. The game card is reading on my light.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking forward to getting some Ghostbusters multiplayer action in.
Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing it too.
Also, there's a weird thing because I bought the digital copy of Rocket League and then I bought the physical copy, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Matt and Brent splurged for my birthday last year and got me a 512 gigabyte SD card because Matt knows the way to get discounted prices through Amazon.
Way to go!
So when I put the new SD card into my Switch Lite, I put the Rocket League card in, and when I downloaded the update patch and all the DLC I had, for some reason it flipped it to the digital version of the game. So if I have the physical and the digital version, it's always going to prioritize the digital version, which is why I'm like, even if I had the extra $30, I basically wasted money on a game card at that point. And it was an impulse buy. I had the money. I had the $5 off coupon. Me and my friends were at GameStop while we were spending the day out and about. I saw it. I'm like, oh, wait, I can get this for $25 because I haven't used my $5 off yet. It's a Ghostbusters game. It was highly looked forward to. It's the Ecto Edition with the downloadable content code included, so I don't have to pay for the downloadable content. I got that in the bundle.
That part.
Why the hell? And it was the last copy. Why the hell wasn't I just going to buy it when I had the money and it was the last copy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Nintendo wants to release a successor to the Switch, and I can get lucky enough to get a system that actually behaves, and I know Brent's sitting there like, why don't I just bring my Switch over and we play Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed on mine? And that's a good question, Brent. It didn't come up until now. That's the answer. But yeah, we're on to our last topic of the night, and this is basically a free-for-all on your thoughts on it, what you've played recently, what you've enjoyed in general, but game demos. I'm going to say the weirdest thing I've ever seen with a game demo. Yes?
Sorry, you mind if I step away just a little bit for just like 1 minute to get a refill?
What's the magic word?
Please, Knuckle Gear.
Go ahead. But yeah, more or less, like for you two, you got, and I don't know how many game demos you downloaded, but Matt, you'll probably remember this in the heyday of the 3DS. Demos with a limited number of uses.
Yeah.
I mean, with Splatoon 2 and the world premiere Splatfest, I can understand that demo not being usable anymore because it was a one-time thing to show how Splatfest worked. But I feel like demos on the Switch now, they're not limited use like the 3DS were. Yeah, my friend Kane, the Dragon Crim, who has been listening in, he told me before we started, the new Prince of Persia game, the demo's live on the eShop, so I'm thinking down the line, maybe tomorrow, maybe later in the week, I'm gonna dig into that demo, maybe do like a little stream playing it through, like when I did the Dave the Diver demo.
Yeah, I was planning on downloading that demo too on Switch.
actually killed Dory too because I found like blue tangs in the water in the game.
Shame on you. What does she ever do to you, other than have a lack of memory?
Just keep swimming is very annoying. I'm kidding.
Yeah, the only demo I've ever done, and this is from like years and years ago, is back when Sims 4 was in its earliest development stages.
For what?
What? Sims 4? PC?
Oh, Sims 4. Yeah.
Yeah, Sims 4. Yeah. The only thing that they were really testing was the CAS, which is create a sim.
Mhm.
They wanted to see how well it worked, how well the players loved it, and before he knew it, Sims 4 became a astounding success.
And now it's free to play.
With what did we talk about in the earlier tonight? Microtransactions.
Yeah, but microtransactions have an excuse in a free to play game. You know, like because to be fair, if you're giving something away for free, you're not profiting off of it. So even when you hate microtransactions, the free to play stuff gets a pass. You know.
Yeah,
Okay.
free to play
Alright.
is the one that gets a pass on that, because otherwise, where else are they going to make the money?
Yeah, it's true.
Game developer Patreon. So we gave you this game for free. There's no microtransactions in it. Would you donate to our Patreons? That would be a creative use of bringing free to play to a new level.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I never have any money after I pay my rent and my bills and whatnot. Like, I can barely, but I would to a free to play game, I would, even if it was just like a 5 spot, I'd give them a little something in a Patreon. If it meant like the death of microtransactions in general. I think that could be a future for game developers, especially in the free-to-play mobile sphere.
Yeah, well, in the Linux gaming world, like there's like certain games where the developer always asks you like, do you want to donate to Patreon and stuff like that?
Linux knows where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with like Brent, when it comes to demos, the idea is demos in general. Demos you've enjoyed playing, and have you played any recently?
To the latter two, haven't played any recently, but for me, in terms of demos should do at least like 2 things. One, show you at least what you're going to be expected to be playing when the full game comes out, and 2, give you enough to the point where it's like, not like more creating more, but more to the point where it's like, this is satisfying. I want to see the final product.
If you can sit through my entire Dave the Diver demo stream, that should give you an idea of like, did that demo meet what you just said? Yeah, because like it was literally like you played through the prologue, and like I think I played through I think it's like the prologue in the first chapter, or at least a portion of the first chapter. You know? Yeah, but truth be told, the last major demo I played was Live Alive. I played the Space Life. There's like the spherical robot.
Yeah.
Wait, Matt, you were about to say?
I was just gonna say that I like demos where you can, if it's like a role-playing game where you can carry over your progress from the demo. Yep. Or Octopath Traveler. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
I did a little bit of the Octopath Traveler, but I felt like it was like, oh, am I playing the whole damn game here? I'm just expecting a tiny little sampling. And then I got overwhelmed. I was like, at this rate, how am I going to get through all 8 paths?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember one that I played a long time ago.
Oh my god!
Well, it was a 20-minute demo on the 25th anniversary disc for GameCube.
Very nice. But yeah, it's like going back to like Octopath for a second, it's like Gilly the Kid recently uploaded like Dragon Ball DS games, a playthrough of anything that counted as a main series Dragon Ball DS game.
Yeah.
And you mentioned a couple of them were RPGs. In general, he has an issue with playing RPGs because they get so packed with content and take so damn long.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's one of the reasons why RPGs tend to be one of the biggest things that get stuck in my backlog.
Mm-hmm.
I love them. They're worth keeping around when they're a good game.
Mm-hmm.
But then I get moved on to the next console, and it's just sitting there, and it's like, I like the story, I like the game, but I'm gonna be late to the party on the next console and the games that I want to play for it if I try to finish this RPG now. They're fun, but I can understand when somebody has the mindset that Gilly did, where it's like, I feel that in some cases, people who strictly play RPGs over other things and only play other shit with like multiplayer friends like Smash or Mario Kart, like they have the better chance of finishing the RPGs quicker, especially when they have enough free time between their jobs to do more gaming.
Yeah.
I mean,
you have to be really.
Yeah.
Sorry, you have to be really committed to doing it a certain number of hours per day. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like I'm still gonna get RPGs and whatnot, but even if I'm enjoying it, if there's like, oh my god, I want to play this game, I got to try this game, and I never get back to finishing that RPG, that's like, I still love it. I mean, an RPG is one of those games where if I like it, I'll give it a positive review, even if I haven't finished it.
Yeah.
Only because I feel I played enough of it. And that's one thing that can be like a bonus topic or like a topic all on its own. Like people who give a game a bad review, but they haven't played enough of it. In some cases, finish the game before you review it. In other cases, if you get an idea of what's going on, that you can give at least a decent first impressions or a review because you know where the story is going, Yeah. It's like with Mario Kart, for example, like I feel like you don't have to beat every cup in the Grand Prix to give a decent review of it, But with a game like a story-heavy RPG, might start out good, but might turn to shit at the end. So get as far as you can,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I mean, seeing on the Switch like demos incoming for like RPGs, and yeah, like you said, carry it over. Carry over your progress. Yeah. Yeah. Tinker's had enough of our shit. She's sitting there like, there's not enough petting me going on, and there's too much talking about video games going on. Anyway, what are some of the recent demos you've played, Brent?
Let's see. Honestly, I haven't really played too many. I think the last one we did was, I forget its name, but it was a Switch one. One you recommended.
I've recommended quite a few games to you.
I think it was Figment 2.
Oh yeah, Figment 2.
Yeah.
It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good.
Oh yeah. And did the demo meet the expectations of what you feel a demo has to do?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I know the game's been out since, too,
And a demo that I've been playing is Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising. Yeah, long name. But it's like a fighting game.
I'll give you a long name. I just have to look it up. Sorry.
But
hold on. I mean, go ahead. I'm just saying, like, hold on to Danny.
But basically, it's a pretty fun game. But I've only played the demo like about once or twice. It's more fun if you play it with other people, obviously, because it's a fighting game. But
All right. You want to be difficult, Google? Okay, are you ready? All right, what was the name of that game again?
Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising.
Dragon Quest Swords, the Masked Queen and the Tower of Mirrors.
Yeah.
I win. Who has time to remember? Just call it Dragon Quest Swords and keep it at that because it's the only game. It's the only one to carry the name Swords. You know.
Yeah.
I had to fucking look up the rest of the name. I just knew it was on the Wii.
Yeah, I think I remember that one.
It's less about was it good or bad, and in this case, it's more about okay, what the fuck was the person who came up with the name Smoking when they came up with that complex of a name?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, shall we move into bonus territory, or is that it for the night?
I've got nothing else to talk about.
Me either.
All right, tune in next time when we have 3 completely new topics that we haven't figured out what they are yet. That's a mouthful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Leave the door alone, Tigger. I can see the paint chips on the floor. All right, we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.